Yesterday, we had a chance to speak to Dr. Musa Muhammad Nordin, Chairman of the Advisory Council Federation of Islamic Medical Associations, about the ongoing attacks on Palestinian children. Firstly, we started by asking him what prompted the Malaysian Ped Association, Asia Pacific Ped Association and the Federation of Islamic Medical Associations to all come together to issue this joint statement.
We are extremely concerned at the number of deaths and casualties involving children in the war that is ongoing in Gaza. The latest count is that 1,873 children have been killed. That is 40% of the total death in Gaza. And the numbers injured amongst children is 4,600. This is 32% of those injured in the war in Gaza. So, as this ongoing attack on Palestinian children is a grave violation of their basic human right, and it constitutes a war crime.
What are other key concerns that have been expressed about the ongoing attacks on Palestinian children?
There was a psychologist from Gaza who in her research mentioned that children who survive wars pay a very high price, psychologically, emotionally, and behaviorally. And in her research, she found that 95% of the children in Gaza showed symptoms of anxiety, depression, and trauma. Can you imagine? They watch their family members, their neighbors, and their friends being killed, and this causes anger, frustration, and they tend to be more aggressive. And they also suffer from what I mentioned earlier, from depression, anxiety, and not PTSD, but continuous traumatic stress syndrome. So, as healthcare professionals, as pediatricians, we are deeply troubled by these children who suffer, who first are killed, and if they survive, are injured. And when they survive, they suffer physical and psychological harm due to the escalating violence in Gaza.
We went on to further inquire and ask Dr. Musa about specific actions or measures that healthcare professionals are calling in for response to the situation that's happening in Gaza.
In our statement, we made 5 recommendations to the international community. 1, stop the violence, cease the violence. We urge an immediate end to the violence and hostilities which have had devastating consequences for the children in Palestine. Number 2, ensure humanitarian access. Facilitate access for humanitarian organizations and medical professionals to provide life-saving medicines, healthcare, and assistance to the affected children. Thirdly, have respect of international law. All parties involved must adhere to international law and uphold the rights and protections afforded to children in conflict zones under the Geneva Convention. Fourthly, support the recovery of these children. We should be investing in programs and initiatives aimed at addressing the psychological trauma and long-term effects of violence on children who have witnessed or experienced conflict-related distress. And fifthly, reinstate the supply of basic amenities, namely water, food, electricity, and fuel to Gaza.
We further went on to ask if there have been any responses or actions from global leaders or the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres in regards to this particular joint statement.
Well, the short answer is no. If you recall, the United States, the United Kingdom, France, and Japan blocked the UN Security Council resolution that proposed a ceasefire in Gaza. A ceasefire which is vital in order to allow a pause in the hostilities, in order to save lives, to prevent injuries, and give diplomacy a chance, pursue a peaceful resolution to the indiscriminate bombings in Gaza. And it's very interesting, with the exception, all the 4 countries who voted against the ceasefire have an ugly history of exterminating the people whom they have colonized and occupied.
We further went on to ask Dr. Musa about his response to the recent issue with the rally.
Very much to Bernama for giving me this opportunity to clarify some of the things that has been said and in social media. There were two issues really. The first issue is on the takbir. The takbir actually is a non-issue. In fact, Puan Nurul Izzah and Tuan Haji Badli Shah, the president of IKRAM, said the takbir when they were delivering their speeches. And many in the crowd also said the takbir, which we did not stop. Yeah, but what the madam of the ceremony did mention was that this is a humanitarian gathering. It is not a religious gathering, and we'd like to be inclusive. We'd like to be doing chants which everyone can join in. Yeah. So when we had our two performers, Rafej and Muaz, they were doing chants which everyone in the crowd were able to join in. And in fact, it was the most exciting part of the rally because everyone was was joining in the chant. So, but I reiterate, at no point in time that we stop. We stop at no point in time that we stop people from saying the takbir. The second issue is the one about Zionists, calling one a Zionist. The Zionist tape that is going around was conveniently truncated because I never labeled him as one. What I did say, what I did explain is that we have to respect the adab, the decorum of our rally, that we should not stoop to the level of the hate discourse of the Zionists. So that was what I actually said. At no point in time that I said he was one. What I did say and explain is that we should not go low as the hate discourse, hate speech of the Zionists. And besides, we had very clear instructions from Polis Diraja Malaysia. Our security team must make sure that any form of hate speech, hate poster be removed. So that was clear instructions from the police because they do not want any form of agent provocateurs in the rally so that it is peaceful and humanitarian.